Welcome back to Tellycast Live from the Palais. Now, my next guest is international industry executive Solange Attwood, who recently launched her new content business, Serial Maven Studios. Welcome to Tellycast, Solange. It's been a long time. I've wanted to have you on the show for ages, so thanks for joining us.
Well, I'm so pleased and I'm so grateful to be here with you. And Justin, you know, I'm a huge fan of yours. I'm a huge fan of Tellycast.
Oh, amazing.
And
keep talking. Keep it coming.
I will. You know, part of what I do is compliments where it's due. And so I love what you're doing. And I'm very excited to be here and talk about the business.
Brilliant. Okay, so this is your first market as Serial Maven Studios. Obviously, we know you've got a storied background at Blue Ant Media and very well-known international executive on the back of that, and travelled all around the world for a number of years. So, you know, you're one of the best-known execs in the industry. So tell us about the new business.
Too kind. You're too kind. I certainly am very fortunate in that I've had a lot of opportunities in the industry to be an entrepreneur. And I've worked quite extensively in the sort of indie sector, working both on development, production, distribution. And of course, many people know me from my tenure at Blue Ant Media, where I started the international distribution business there. And I had the privilege of working with some fantastic other executive talent during my tenure there. And yes, I am here at MIPCom with our COO, Julie Chang. We're here in Cannes on the Croisette, and we are talking all things Serial Maven Studios.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you talked about entrepreneurism, and that's obviously, you know, within your DNA.
Yeah.
So so what really drove you to starting the new business with Julie? You know, obviously it was on that entrepreneurial streak, but what was it that you wanted to create that was different from what you were doing?
Yeah, I mean, I love this business. I think about it and obsess about it all the time. And, you know, for many, many years, especially with the rise of SVODs, what I do and what Julie and the team at Serial Maven Studios does so well was not quite as relevant. And so what I'm saying is we are an intellectual property business, and our real core expertise is stitching together international co-productions, co-financing models. Anyway, all to say, for a long time, with the rise of the SVODs, what we do wasn't really at the forefront. And so it didn't necessarily make sense in the past to launch a studio like Serial Maven Studios. But about 10 months ago, we did in fact launch the studio. And it was because it was the right time. There was an opportunity finally in the marketplace to be able to retain intellectual property, to be able to collaborate with best creative talent around the world, to be able to assemble a sort of committee of the willing on the financing side of what ultimately will be really premium original IP.
Yeah.
So it really is, why now? It was the right time. The market was open to a company like this. The other thing is there's been a lot of consolidation in the marketplace, and there's quite a few big companies, but there's not as many little companies that have the expertise and the track record to be able to do the kind of work that we do. And so it was the right time with the right executive talent. The marketplace was open. So there were a lot of factors that coalesced in order to say, okay, now is the right time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, on a personal level, I am of an age, which I will not share, that I have just enough energy to do it one more time. And so I had the strength, the willingness, the desire, the hunger to really be able to give it that real push that you need as an entrepreneur to build something of real, you know, scale. And so I thought, okay, it's now.
Now's the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you launched as a content IP business, but then a little bit later you announced your distribution arm as well.
Correct.
A little bit before MIPCom. So just expand a little bit about your approach, a different approach to financing and distribution, which I know is something that you wanted to take a little bit of a different approach to. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah. There's a lot of different ways to getting at intellectual property, and that's a business way of saying to get to great storytelling. And to be able to be a diversified business in which you are swimming in lanes and pools with great creative talent can come in a variety of different ways. So we always knew at the onset that we are developers, that we are physical producers, but that we were also going to be distributors. We were going to be all of those things. And so, you start where you can start. And so we started with creating a development slate, getting production green lights, and then moving on to sort of the distribution business. I think if, you and I have had conversations about this in the past where everyone assumed that I would eventually launch a distribution business. They weren't wrong.
Yeah.
It's certainly in my DNA. But it was important to us to be able to have all of those verticals and a diversified business, all of which aim to help and super serve our partners to get to green lights.
So how does one go around assembling your first slate when you've got MIPCOM in the looking at MIPCOM towards the end of the year, and you're thinking, okay, now's the opportunity to create this new business, and what am I going to be showing at MIPCOM? I mean, talk us through that.
Well, I have the good fortune that I got a lot of inbound calls, actually, which was lovely. So when of course, we started with our development slate, and we spoke to many people who we love, and that have a fantastic track record. And so we set up our development slate, and so all of that started to really come together. And then we turned our mind to distribution. And so ultimately, in some instances, we were in the flow of conversation with commissioners, with producers, and we told them we will be launching a distribution business. And we got to get to a yes with those people. And we were fortunate to be able to pick up a library from Marcus Entertainment that had a number of series that were produced by 0.0, who of course are the production company that did all the Anthony Bourdain material. So we were lucky to be able to get material coming out of the U.S. market. We also have collaborated with a number of incredible Canadian producers, whether that be Peacock Alley, Arcadia Entertainment. There were wonderful people who entrusted in us to give their titles to us to then export on the international marketplace. And the same was true in the UK and in Australia. And so in very quick succession, we were able to assemble just over 300 hours, mostly from production partners in the US, Canada, the UK, and Australia. And so we have the good fortune now, obviously, to be here and to be telling those stories, representing those titles, and finding great opportunities to license that incredible work to platform partners from around the world. So
300 hours is a great catalogue to launch with. Can you just give us a sense of what are the major genres that you're focusing on in year one for Serial Maven?
Absolutely. We went directly to our core strengths. So we're very focused on the factual space and basically anything in the factual space. We are also quite strong in the lifestyle space, as well as documentary programming and specialist factual.
Right.
So if you look at both our development slate and our distribution offering, they really fall into those verticals. And so we played to our strengths, but we've remained diversified. And really, through it all, it's really about quality.
Yeah. Okay. And I mean, I know you're going to say it's fantastic, the reception to our first catalogue, but you're obviously dashing in and out of meetings, doing the half hour throughout the day thing.
Yeah. How's
it going? What's the feedback?
Yeah. if I'm totally honest, it is really overwhelmingly positive. And I think that's because we're kind of a good news story in a market that is really hard. And lots of people are going through very difficult things. No one is immune to redundancy. There's incredible disruption. And so to be able to point to a startup that is succeeding is exciting, I think, for everybody. And one of the things that's so fantastic about this industry is that we're a real community. We're a community of people and storytellers who share in successes. And that's really needed right now. Yeah. And so it's been wonderful. But we can't talk about it too much more because I'll cry, because I'm a real crier. But it really has been overwhelmingly positive, both because the community wants to rally around good news, but also because there is a commercial need for smaller companies in this kind of marketplace. And so it makes sense to a lot of people, and they feel encouraged about being able to do business with a company that's like, yes, I can solve that problem. Yes, I will provide real solutions for you. Yeah. So, yeah.
And obviously it's a great news story because it's female-led business, of course, know, and so it's great to see a female-led distribution and IP business in the marketplace, and wishing you all the very best of luck with it.
Oh, thank you so much, Justin.
All right. Well, listen, thank you for joining us. All the best for the rest of the market, Solange. And
thank you.
I know we'll see you on lots of meetings on various different stands around the market up until Wednesday. So all the best.
Total pleasure.
Join us in a few minutes when we'll be speaking with Evan Shapiro, media cartographer, for his insights into the media universe. First, some messages from our sponsors.